Great. Very nice to meet you, Anya. Thank you for coming to Humans and AI podcast. I appreciate your time. I'm actually very impressed with your career. I'm very interested in fashion and AI and tech. So when I saw your profile was I want to interview her. This sounds very interesting. So I would like to learn a little bit about your background because it's very interesting. So if you could share a little bit about it, it would be nice.
Yeah, hello, hello. Hi, this is Anya from Taylor. We are an AI startup. We help people to pick clothes with AI. So, as a busy man in the US, you don't have to dress up anymore. Our AI stylists help you to pick the perfect outfits. But at the same time, we also send people real clothes for them to rent. So then they don't have to do any shopping or laundry and they get real, like clean clothes ready to wear. Before starting a company, I was at Meta, where I helped build out Facebook, Instagram shopping. Was head of product for eBay, helped them launch new business in the US, Latin America, Africa, Asia. Senior director at McDonald's, helped them to build out food delivery business when Uber Eats just started and all of the in-store technology. And I also helped Target, which is a retailer in the US, to launch a tech office. I'm excited to be here today.
Great. Thanks, Anya. So I would like to because you've got a impressive background, I have to say. Like you've done like you didn't come from AI from the research but from the product, right? So you've been a manager for many years. But before that, I've seen it's just like you got so much like you were as well working at the university.
I
So
went to University of
actually,
Chicago. I went to University of Chicago for my MBA, and then I got master degree in marketing from Northwestern University. And now I'm teaching product management, including AI products there for the engineering school, journalism schools, and previously at MBA and law school.
great. So I'm very interested in something because you said like you help Meta to launch Facebook and Instagram shopping. How was that experience? Because that was the moment that AI was starting, right? So how was that experience?
It was great, but I won't say it was more of a. I think it was before Gen AI era. We were mostly talking about connected commerce. Just at that time, most of the posts is not shoppable. Like LeBron posting about something, and Curry posting out something, or you posting something, and you say I'm selling my bicycle. Most people have to contact you, versus actually can just click on and then pay and go ahead to become like pay on the platform. So because my background in e-commerce, so I help them to launch their side of business. I think that experience really helped me a lot on the strategy. In big tech company, everyone is really smart. It's not about your idea versus my idea. And I see that happen a lot nowadays in era of AI because the design product manager before cannot really just ship a product, and now they were just using AI tools and creating a visuals and then engineering and then ship a product. But I think that's a good thing, but also a bad thing because the reality is that it's not lack of a good idea, but it's more of how would you have a clear logics to launch your product. So, for example, at Meta, we interview people, and usually a product sense question means that we will ask you, say, if you are the product manager for Instagram birthday or Facebook birthday feature, what feature would you launch? And that seems as an easy question. What feature would you launch? But half of the people will be filtered out because of this question, because most of people will start giving idea. But the reality is the idea is cheap. Anyone can have ideas. Oh, I want to launch this feature, this AI matching, this virtual reality, whatever features, the idea is really cheap, but it's more about your logic to come up with idea. For example, okay, we have three different persona, people who have a birthday, people who are close to the birthday boy or girl, people who are not that familiar with, but more of their online friends. What are their pinpoint? Okay, each of these pinpoint, and it's important to come up with a selecting criteria to select the biggest problem to solve. Okay, for example, the selecting criteria is which pain point has more people have that pain point, which pain point is more painful, which pain point is going to be even more painful in the future. So these are selecting criteria to pick the problem to solve. And then from there, you come up with an idea, which is a solution, which has a product feature, like what product feature that you want to launch. And then you have a selecting criteria for your solution. For example, which one take less effort, which one can really solve the problem better, which one can be using the company's advantage or something. So what I learned most is really about the strategy, using a strategic framework and logic to decide what to do versus being an idea person.
Okay. And what did you learn about how AI actually influences human behavior?
I don't think I think we all on those, it's not there learn from Meta, but I think nowadays with ChatGPT, we all know people are a lot less about brands, right? So for example, before Amazon launch, then when you go to Target, Walmart store, you tend to take care about brands because whatever brands that is there is already being known. But then after Amazon launch, then you buy stuff, a lot of stuff that's not well known, but it was ranking high on Amazon. I think that's also happening in the era of AI. A lot of time that you actually less about brand, you have AI search, so become more and more of it's how visible for your company to be seen on AI. Taylor, for example, last year we won American Marketing Association Best Marketing Campaign of the Year because we get 10 million impressions from AI SEO. So when you go on ChatGPT asking for 2025 fashion trend, the answer is not from GQ, it's from Taylor. So a lot of time if you see the SEO analysis, Taylor is a 3 years old startups, but our share of voice on AI SEO is equal to very close to Stitch Fix, which is a public company with hundreds of millions of users. So I think it's a new era on visibility. It's less about brand. It's more about structured data and unstructured data and also testimonial data, customer generated content, sentiment data that can be consumed by AI, which is where your company get visibility in the future. And of course, we all know how people search is very different from before, right? Before you search for best restaurants in San Francisco, but nowadays people give AI all of the context and allow AI to think for them. So people's behavior on that is very different. But I would say end of day is still about if you can solve a real problem because at eBay, we do launch AI for people posting job for the stuff they want to sell, like for job, for houses, even for bicycles and sofa. And as a result, actually not a lot of people using that feature at the time because what we found was a lot of people, they care about what they sell. They actually want to make sure it is 100% correct. Of course, the behavior will change over time, but I think solving a real problem is still equally important.
Okay. So you emphasize building human in the loop AI systems at Taylor in your startup. Why do you think that humans in the loop is so important in this AI era?
I think so. Human innovation is important because unique data is important. In the era of AI only grow when you have unique data. So if you don't have your humans in the loop, which means you probably don't have unique insight that you have, then you are just equal to everyone else. Then you don't have any unique advantage. For example, my friend is a dentist, so he has 3 dentists here in Bay Area, and a lot of his clients are Asians, older Asians. So he has very unique data, which is the images of those teeth issue. So he has built the AI to detect if people have teeth problem, and specifically he has data of Bay Area older Asian people's images, right? So that's something that is very unique. And here at Taylor, for example, we rent out clothes for people in the US for men to rent. And every time the clothes come back, we wash them and we send it to other people, just like your airport rental car. And just like your Uber, you get off car, someone get on a car. So we know the true quality of garments. In the past, if I ask you which brand is more sustainable, then you will tell you whatever brand they're actually advertising most about their sustainability. You say Patagonia. Why? Because I see Patagonia ads is all about sustainability. Do you know their true quality? You don't, right? But in the era of here, At Taylor, for example, we know the true quality of garment because we wash them. AI only know the past. AI doesn't know the future. But in this case, Taylor, we work with 150 high quality brand, and those companies designer are designing something 2 years down the road. So we already know the future, which again, AI on the internet don't have. So it's important to have human on the in the loop, like the campaign that we want, the American Marketing Association, where we start with human thinking about what question people will ask on ChatGPT and Gemini's, and then we have AI generate some content. Our stylists provide their own inputs. From there, our marketers doing the tweeting. We send it to customer, provide feedback. The feedback go back to our internet on the website. So then it become content to generate more people into our site, and it become an automatic flywheel. And because human in the loop, so there's unique data, and that's why you have defensive strategy here in this era of AI.
Okay, talking a little bit about sustainability, how can AI actually reduce waste and overproduction in industries like clothing?
Yeah, so no, for example, in the past, if I ask you who is a busy man in the US, say you might be an executive, you might be a sales guy, you might be a single dad with 2 kids. You have money, but you don't have time. When was the last time you go to a thrift store or go on eBay and browsing through secondhand item? Never. If I told you that, hey, do you know buying secondhand clothes is good for the environment and most clothes are still like new? You say, I'm supportive. Have you ever do it? Never. So in this Tailor, for example, we use AI to pick the outfit for a busy man, and we send them real clothes for them to rent. This group of people will never go to a thrift store before, never buy secondhand, not because they don't want to, they just don't have time. But now those group of people who are white collar, executive, busy men become participating in circular fashion. And most of our customers, after renting clothes, they actually buy the clothes because they use a service like try before you buy. Today, in the US, menswear market is $140 billion, but 40 billion of them go directly from factory to landfill, generating 10% of carbon emissions, 20% of polluted water, 30% from factory to landfill. Never going to the store, never going to Ross, discount store or outlet, or going to your closet that you don't even wear. It goes from factory to landfill. It's a real problem. But by doing so, having AI picking stuff, now the busy man can try stuff because yes, if they can rent, but they have to pick. Most of them don't have time. Most of them don't know what to pick. They don't read GQ. They are not fashion forward. Look at their closet. They've been buying and wearing the same thing last 10 years. So that's how we do at Taylor to open up circular fashion to busy men.
Okay, may I ask why do you focus on men? Only men, right?
That's right. That's right. We only focus on men because it actually start with my personal pinpoint, but turn out that it's a better problem for men. So when I was working for Meta, I was a few female leaders there coming with color. I'm originally from Taiwan. I'm an immigrant from Taiwan, has been in the US for 20 years. I didn't came from engineering background. I came from product management background. So overall, I'm a minority. So I feel imposter syndromes. Those are most of them are and white collar, white guy who are engineers background and becoming product leaders there. So I feel imposter syndrome, but I don't want people to find out. I want to look good so then no one knows I'm freaking out every day. So I start trying service like Stitch Fix, but you have to buy from every single shipment. And I didn't like that the commitments because you have to commit, right? Once you get a shipment, yes, someone style you, but it's just those subscription boxes that you have to buy before you can wear. But buying is not just about money, it's a lot of my spaces. How many times can I wear this clothes? Can I find somewhere cheaper to buy this clothes? After I buy this clothes, you have to wash your clothes. You can have to laundry the clothes. You have to do ironing and folding the clothes. It's a lot of work. So I start renting. Here, what I'm wearing on my earrings, I rent everything. I haven't been buying most of the clothes for the 10 years. So company like Rent the Runway, which is a public company, newly by Urban Outfitter, which make 500 million per year since they just launched that 5 years ago, but are more many more, but most all of those women's rental company require people to pick 100,000 garments, spend 2 hours picking. And it was an aha moment for me that I realized fashion companies have designed for people who are into fashion. Not for people like me. I just want to get ready for my day and be successful. We are not selling clothes. We are selling a chance to succeed. Most of our customer and think like we're that. So I start doing research and turn out a lot of people think like me, but they are all busy men. Single guy, sales guy, consultants, executive, professor, recruiter, pastors, podcasters. They are socially active, but they are not into fashion. And that's why Taylor is born with AI stylists, with men's rental, so they don't have to do any shopping or laundry.
Great. I love it, actually. I haven't seen this before. Whoa, good job. So, Anya, do you think it's difficult to be a female founder? As you said that you're a woman also in the AI and tech field, which is mostly men. And as well, I know because most of the people that I interview, it's been men, way more than women. So, do you think it's difficult and how much it's changed over the time?
Yeah, I think it's difficult. I think that I never in big tech company, people ask me this question for 20 years. Oh, being female leaders, being people with a color, is it hard? In fact, during my previous career in big tech company, sometimes feel, but most of the time I never feel that I'm different. I think those big tech company did a pretty good jobs. They try to make sure, for example, interview last step of interview, there's always minorities being on the panels for as a candidates. They try to make sure that when you, for example, go to you hosting a hackathon and most of women don't sign up, so then they will host a hackathon right after the all hands, so everybody's there, so women just need to stay. They will try to make sure in the all hand, the first person who asks the questions is a woman, because the research shows that if it's men ask the first question in meeting, the rest of the question, 90% will be asked by men. But if a woman asks the first question, the rest of the question will be asked equally by two genders. I think big tech company did a pretty good job on supporting minority and women. But after becoming a startup founder, I realized that capital world is not the same. Data numbers shows that today in the US, 30% of 50% of business are founded by one woman, at least one woman. In Silicon Valley, 30% of tech company are founded by women. But guess what? How much percent of venture capital money goes to women? 1.8%. 1.8%, not 18%, 1.8%. It's crazy low, while women's founders are actually higher performing. If you look at all the research, women founders are more high performing for investors than any other genders in other segments. So it's daunting. And at the beginning, I feel sad. And I was shocked one time that I went to TechCrunch conference, which is startup conference. The finalist of Battlefield, who is a very beautiful woman, I met her the night before the competition in a happy hour. She's a white person and Caucasians, and she's a serial founder. She has a giant diamond on her head. I comment on the diamond and say, "Hey, beautiful jewelry, you dress out looks very nice." Oh, she said, "Oh no, I'm not married. I specifically wear this because the research shows investors are more likely to invest in women who are married because at least in the world there's one guy who trusts this woman." This is crazy. It's a real story. I met a person, I took picture with a person 2 years ago. I realized that if we just keep angry about this, the world is not going to be better. So I switched my mindset. I say, okay, if only minority care about minority, no problem. Then how about I get all the support from all minorities? Nigerian Americans, Indian Americans, Indonesian Americans, and Taiwanese Americans, Italian Americans, and people with the colors, and people who are gays, and people who are women. And if I get every minority, I am the majority. So we start talking to those minority investors and one after the others. And now fast forward, we are backed by Goodwater Capital, which is the largest consumer tech VC in the world, Berlin Capital, which is for highest performing IR VC in the US, and also founder of YouTube and variety of investor behind company like Love, Instacart, Spotify, Facebook, and TikTok.
It's very interesting because you made your weakness your strength. So that's how things work, right? So, Anya, do you think that AI will eventually replace human taste in industries like fashion, or will human judgment always be essential?
I think human will always be essential as in general, but it's not going to be essential for all functions. Just in the past, you have copywriter write everything, but now you have AI write everything. I still have my copywriter take a look in the end, make sure it makes sense from all angle, but I don't have my copywriter draft anything anymore. Right? In the past, I will ask my mentor for startup like equity questions. Now I ask ChatGPT before I make the final decisions. Then I have a mentor to double check. This is what I think based on ChatGPT. Does it make sense? In the past, we have lawyer to draft everything. So I now have ChatGPT draft my contract, and I have my lawyer to double check, so we don't have to pay many hours, maybe half an hour for that. I think AI is going to be replacing a lot of part of the work. Women's still going to be essential for part of the work, and how women work will be different. So the person who will be the only person I for sure will be replaced is people who don't know how to use AI tool.
Yeah, that's very interesting because I feel like we all use AI for everything. I use it every single day, ChatGPT, for asking every single thing. Like sometimes I'm like, I don't know, I'm getting crazy here with with I'm talking to myself. Okay, and yeah, do you think that Taylor may someday use AI to help people make their own clothes, or you're gonna keep the rental model for as a business model?
We are not designing clothes. Taylor is a platform. So it's like library. We don't make books. We distribute the book. So we distribute. So our AI pick clothes. So just in the old time in Hollywood, the celebrity have stylists, right? So for wear these, verse these, and hey, politicians, before you go on stage, you make sure you roll out your sleeve so you feel more like the blue color with people. So you should wear this color versus that color, which looks better with this background. So our stylists pick clothes, and our AI stylists support our human stylists. So we are not interested in, we may be designing clothes one day because we know people's true preference, but right now we are not really doing so. We work with 150 brands, Johnson& Murphy, Rails, Marine Layer, Bonobo, BYLT, Cuts, and many more. And so we work with those fashion brands to get their unsold inventory or new clothes before they go live in productions, having AI to pick the outfit and send it to customer. And we also get a lot of feedback from customers. So customer may say the sleeves too long and body is too tight. In the past, those feedback would never go back to the fashion brand because most of fashion brands sell the clothes to big wholesaler, they sell to small wholesaler, eventually sell to the small retailers and sell to the customer. So customers' feedback can never go back to the fashion brand on time. But now with rental, we get feedback right away. So we also get those feedback and make them become AI. And this AI go back to be a B2B tool to help fashion brands and retailers to stop producing junk, to help them predict what's going to sell, help them find out what people needed, and then reduce the future inventory. So we are already using those AI in those two fronts, designing clothes. Maybe one day, I know a lot of the tool out there is doing those things, but not yet. But for the data, for sure, we're using the data to help them to predict what's going to sell.
Okay, thanks for the clarification. For the clarifications, and yet, in all your career, what are the three main lessons that you've learned?
Yeah, I think the first lesson is more of trust yourself. I know it sounds cliche, but it's hard and it's really important. When I after working for those big tech company, after I became a startup founder, suddenly everybody is trying to give advice for startup founder. Oh, you're a startup founder. Let me teach you, blah, blah, blah. Wait, last minute, like 2 months ago, I was head of product for eBay. And where you were my mentee, and suddenly everybody is trying to teach startup founders. And then when you go into meetings, when you have a business card from Facebook, Meta, Instagram, everybody's trying to talk to you. But very quickly after become startup founder, people all want to talk to public companies and some executive. So I think at the beginning, so for a few years ago when we started a company, we went on startup competition. In order to win a competition, I found 42 former judges. I asked them to do a mock practice pitch with me. So when I went on the startup competition, my pitch was perfect. You practice 42 times, 43 times actually, because one of the judges said, let's do one more time with you. So we did 43 times. But when the judge asked me questions, I was stunned. I couldn't answer anything. Why? Because in my head, I wasn't trying to answer the question. I was trying to think about, yes, this question. Practice judge number 2 asked me, and I put in the appendix number 2. And the answer was, what? I didn't believe that I could answer the question. All in my head, I was thinking, who told me the answer before? It's almost like students. When you were students, sometimes a professor say, this is open book. You saw the question, you were not thinking of the answer. You went back to the book, start finding the answers right away. And you waste all of your time on searching the perfect answer. And down, the time's up. You haven't write down the answer. You went home, you look at a question, you actually know the answer. I think that's what happened, even though I have 15 years of career of experience. So I think it happened to everyone. So the first lesson is definitely help like trusting yourself. I think the second lesson is about that giver's game. How Taylor got our first investor was because when there was someone referred me to another founder, and I was actually talking to that founder because I want that founder introduce me his investor. But in a conversation, I forgot. The founder is in the AI camera space. I found the idea was fascinating. So I connect him with a whole bunch of my previous connections in the bodyguard industry because when I worked for Meta, I helped bring internet to the country that didn't have internet in Nigeria, Kenya, Tanzania. So I actually know a lot of bodyguard company from that time. So I connect him with those company. Few weeks after, he circled back to me. He said, Anya, thank you so much to help me. I got these amazing leads and clients. By the way, how can I be helpful? And I was like, oh, yeah, I was trying to ask you to introduce me your investor. So he did. In half an hour conversation with Berlin Capital, which is one of the most best performing VC in the US, we got $1 million. So givers game, sometimes opportunities are there when you are not listening or paying attention on. Yeah, but last but not least, I would say it's being curious. I teach at Northwestern University, and I found that most of the students who are best performing students, they are not students who care about what or how. They care about why. As Asians, my education back in Taiwan is all about what's useful. Don't take the sport class, go study math. Math is useful. Go study engineers. Don't be an artist. Engineer is useful. Be a doctor. Their doctor is useful, not being a journalist. But coming to the US, I realized a lot of time opportunity are here when there's curiosities. So it's not about that it's not just about what's useful. So for example, being a startup founder, I wish 10 years ago, I start doing investing. So I know all of the investors, know about ecosystem, know other startup founder. But when I worked for Meta or eBay, I didn't think that's useful. Who cares about startup? I'm working for big tech companies. It's not useful. But after being startup founder, I realized that whatever I thought wasn't useful could be actually very important. So I would say make sure you are curious. Just go with something that you don't know. You don't know what you don't know yet.
Thank you very much. I loved it. Actually, I loved it. And I agree with all of them. So thank you very much, Anya, for your time. I hope I have a great time. I've learned a lot. I hope that you also have a good time.
Yeah, thank you so much